So then we get back into the ring. So we get, oh man, just such a fun classic match, at least in my opinion. I'll get your opinion here in a second. But we get Jungle Boy, Jet Perry taking on Brian Cage with Prince Nana. Like I said, I thought this was a good classic old school pro wrestling match. What'd you think?
Yeah. Yeah, this was classic. This was the, babyface overcoming the the more powerful, larger, dastardly heel, and by his sheer grit and toughness survives for the victory. And he gets up and says, "All right, it was this guy did it. This guy did it." Like, you know what I mean? So Jungle Boy gets to have his fierce fucking like, here's my big dick, right? Moment out there. And I mean, what do we do?
Yeah.
What do we do? What do we
Well,
do with the Jungle Boy?
well, so it seems like, and one thing I want to clarify too, even though this was a classic pro wrestling style match, I mean, there was a Canadian destroyer, like it was still modern, right? Like it
Of
wasn't
course,
like
right.
just, you know,
Yeah, this wasn't
headlocks and
Wrestle Hold 4000.
right. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it had action. So if you haven't seen it, definitely make sure you check it out. But I think what we're doing with Jungle Boy is the giant killer. So he mentions he took out Luchasaurus. Then he just took out the action figure Brian Cage. And so then he says, I'm going after the biggest guy.
Hey,
And
listen,
here's, well,
take
hold
down
on.
all the beasts of the jungle.
Well, hold on. Here's where let's talk about it. So he takes out Brian Cage, takes out Luchasaurus. Then he goes, I'm going after the biggest of them all. Big Bill.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? Who thought that was cool? You have Stokely Hathaway right there. Just run that by him. He's going to tell you it's not cool.
Yeah, I don't know why this Big Bill. Look, I get W. Morrissey is not a great name that rolls off the tongue either.
Morrissey. Just Morrissey. Give her the
Just
W.
Morrissey.
What the fuck was that? Morrissey. Morrissey.
Would be fine. Yeah, it would be fine. Yeah, Big Bill sounds that sounds like classic pro wrestling. That sounds like we get a guy in a trucker hat and some overalls, and it's Big Bill.
That sounds like the insult MJF would give him if he was in a feud with him, where like he calls Ricky Starks Richard. Feels like he would call him Big Bill, right? So it's not a good name. It's just not a good name.
I guarantee you that guy, W. Morrissey, isn't going around telling people to call me Big Bill, and nobody's calling him Big Bill. So, yeah, I don't know where this was born of.
I don't know. That
sounds
name
like
is
a JR suggestion.
Or Jericho. The name is not good, but everything else in this segment is. So again, really good match. Jungle Boy calls out Morrissey. I'm just going to start calling him Morrissey. Stokely Hathaway comes out and he's like, what the hell are you going to do, pal? Lee Moriarty comes out. He starts fighting him. Then there comes Morrissey and they're beating him up. And we get a RIP New Jack because they're beating him up while the music's playing. He's like, oh yeah, this is just like New Jack, RIP New Jack. We also get Stokely Hathaway calling Jungle Boy a hoe. I thought that was funny. You don't hear hoe a lot.
Yes, no. Stokely Hathaway says shit at like first of all, like he said,
the worst crime you can commit is dick riding without a license.
And then he threw out this thing with the use a hoe or whatever. I love me some Stokely Hathaway for just that. Jeffrey Sills in the chat said the way Big Bill hopped out of the ring from a 170-pound Hook had me rafflemow. And we got Hook.
So let's talk about that. So the firm are beating up Jungle Boy, and then you hear Action Bronson, which the Chairman's Intent is just one of the best songs of all time. Without a hook, it's just one of the best songs of all time. But here comes fucking Hook. It's Hook. And you know how much we love Hook. Anyone who's listened to the show longer than 2 months knows how much we love Hook. This was a great spot because we hadn't seen him in a while, right? He's been kind of dormant, not really doing much. He had the match with Lee and he beats Lee, and then they're mad because he actually really didn't, which he obviously did. And so they've got a beef with it. So it makes sense that Hook would come out here. And now, like Jeffrey said, the firm powder out, they go away. We get Hook helping up Jungle Boy. And what do we got here? The hoodie and the hair? Like, this is a fucking cool team, right?
The boy and his hook.
Boy in his hook. Oh yeah, let's do it. That's great. Yeah.
No, good stuff, man. Yeah, I don't know where we go from here. What we don't necessarily need is Hook has another best friend tag team partner and he just doesn't say anything. But if you don't have anything for Hook, it's better to get him than to not get him occasionally. So, I mean, if you don't have anything in mind, then this won't be terrible, but it feels like it would be stalling Jungle Boy. So I don't know what we do here.
I think the moment, and again, I called for this when Wardlow was going up against Jay Lethal and Satnam Singh, and I didn't get it. But I think we could get it here. I think this is where we have to have Hook T-bone suplex Morrissey. That has to be the spot where he just, all of his weight, all of his power, jumps this motherfucker up with his hips and throws his ass, halfway across the ring. Like that has to be the spot that we're getting from this feud. The other thing I think we could potentially get, the Firm, Stokely Hathaway, potentially outsmarts the new guys, right? Because Jungle Boy is not a veteran. He's still new in his journey in pro wrestling. Hook obviously is newer than him. So Stokely Hathaway can use his mind and outsmart him, which then could potentially lead into Hook gets pissed at Jungle Boy versus Hook. That would be something, would be interesting, but then you might get Jungle Boy getting some boos because everyone loves Hook still. I don't know. Should be interesting. I like all of it.
Yeah, it is interesting to just have this kind of hovering, though. It's like, what is this, right? Like, I don't, yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this goes.
The hoodie and the hair, or a boy and his hook. I like both of them. They're great.